other men's daddies.
This woman is pregnant and wants to know which of the several men she's had sex with is her child's father.
Ms. Kavanaugh are appearing in court to prove paternity of your son, Malcolm. His biological father is Mr. Bowles.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit to being intimate with another man during the window of conception.
The first possible father, Mr. Bowles, has never met the child and claims he's not the biological father. However, Miss Kavanaugh is sure he's the one.
Your Honor, I believe Mr. Bowles is my son's father. We had unprotected sex frequently. You probably didn't even know my son's name was Malcolm until now.
Here's Mr. Bowles' testimony.
You seem to be certain that he's not, but you admit to having a sexual relationship. How can you be so sure that you're not?
Actually, when we first met the first night, we had sex. Like, probably 3 weeks later, maybe 2 weeks later, I found like an open condom wrapper in her bathroom.
Doesn't mean I have sex with everybody on the first night. I actually cared for him. We actually talked on Facebook. And then the condom that he's talking about, it was my friend's.
She said she used it. She said it was with her ex.
When she found out she was pregnant, she told Mr. Bowles.
Your Honor, I told him. I told Mr. Bowles because that's who I believed was the father.
She confessed to cheating on him, and here's the reason.
But I did have one sexual encounter. I wanted to be in a serious relationship with Mr. Bowles. He didn't respect me. So yes, I did have one encounter because I want him to see that somebody else wants me and maybe he would want me, which is a very childish way of thinking.
Well, I'm glad you understand the error. Now you know.
Why does Mr. Bowles doubt paternity? Turns out she lied about being pregnant for him before.
So before she got pregnant, she actually lied about being pregnant maybe like some weeks before.
It's because I was very childish when I was talking to Mr. Bowles. Like, he was coming to my house, got a pregnancy test, was going to take 2 negatives, turn it into a positive.
Take 2 negatives and turn it into a positive.
Yes.
So you had a plan to pretend you were pregnant, and then what happened?
I went to go eat, and I came back and they were both positive.
He stood with her when he found out she was pregnant, but still kept his doubts.
I was still being around. And actually, I think it's more than just one other guy because I thought she had something to do with it at first, but I don't think she did.
When I told him I wanted to be in a committed relationship, I could be carrying your child and you just disrespect me. He wakes me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and tells me he's going to go have sex with another woman.
We was just friends.
Because I was asleep, that justifies what you did. I do still kind of have feelings for Mr. Bowles.
The second possible father, Mr. Elliott, was invited to the stand.
Describe your relationship with Miss Kavanaugh.
It's a very special one. Me and her, I called her that evening, offered her for a movie.
Took her on dates and courted her and treated her like a lady should be treated.
Always.
It appears Miss Kavanaugh would prefer Mr. Elliott to be the father.
I would be very pleased and very happy if it was Mr. McElliott.
Do you feel like he looks like you, or...
I would say no.
How about you, Mr. Bowles? When you look at the picture of this, do you see yourself?
I don't think so.
Mr. Elliott has no relationship with the child, which makes 2 of them.
No,
You have not.
I'm not.
So what happened to the plan?
Things started to get a little bit off track. I believe that one thing that me and her had in common, find out if I was the father or not.
Miss Kavanaugh's mother would get schooled after she said this.
That's something I don't understand. The men, like, you're having sex all over. But when a girl does it, it's like, whoa.
Well, since we want to go to school, let me take you there. Because a lot of women feel like they want to compete with a man. It's wrong all day long. However, we, women, bear the children. When we know for certain, we're the mothers. Do you understand? When you slept with more than one person, you set them in limbo. I'm a woman too. I ain't young no more. We have responsibilities to a child. This is about a person.
I just heard my daughter take responsibility.
What your daughter learned was a very valuable lesson. You cannot make a man love you.
It's time for the results.
In the case of Kavanaugh v. Bowles, McElliott, Mr. McElliott, you are not his father. Mr. Bowles, you are not his father.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't mean to put you guys through all that.
Do you know who that is? Is it that third person, or do you not know?
It's the third person.
An angry, grieving mother accuses a young woman of attempting to cash in on her deceased son's insurance policy by claiming he is the father of her 3-year-old daughter.
So, Ms. Lusk, describe to the court how difficult this situation has been.
Being pregnant at 16, having to still go through school. He has a whole other side. She has a whole other side to her family. Not only me. Not only me.
You're
not absolutely correct.
You are some order.
You raised Jasmine.
Miss Page revealed she had an insurance policy on her son.
And you're saying you need help.
They're out for money. Unless it's proven it's not my son. You nothing about her.
And so this insurance policy is in the amount of $50,000. You submitted that to the court. Ms. Lusk is attempting to get a portion of that money. Your deceased son is her child's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
She also believed her son was in a committed relationship and that she has never heard of Miss Lusk. Here's what Miss Lusk has to say about that.
Last time we were intimate, you knocked on the door. You interrupted us.
Miss Lusk, explain to the court what happened that day.
We had times that I would come over to see him because he only stayed a few blocks from my school. I would go. I would walk.
Miss Page claims the first time she saw her, she didn't look pregnant. Her son was in a committed relationship with someone else. That's not Miss Lusk.
He was in a relationship for years.
And that's why
I'm not claiming no baby.
We're not them.
Now listen, how did you get the news that she potentially was pregnant?
Told me via Facebook or something like
No,
that.
ma'am.
Miss Anderson told the court what Miss Page had been doing on social media.
Make sure you find your baby's daddy. And she's publicly putting it on Facebook.
She'll have it where I can't post comments. Not once have I ever said anything bad.
An argument broke out as to the permission to give the child the deceased last name.
You don't have my permission. Like,
Yes,
we
Miss
really
Anderson,
need
because
it.
So you gave Samari Desmond's last name.
Without my permission.
It will be today.
You're not
but it
his
will
wife.
be today. You're
not his
absolutely
wife.
correct. And I'm his baby mother.
No, you're not.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Page had no relationship with the child.
She had the opportunity. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
she had.
Miss Lusk, I held it and I got a picture. Take us
You had a
someone
few.
to see.
I don't
This
want
is my
somebody
first time
around
seeing you, Miss Anderson. The feeling is mutual.
Okay.
His first daughter was born.
I understand. But you are a grown woman. I was 16. You slandered you called my premature daughter ugly.
I did.
Judge Lauren asked her, if the child turned out to be his son's, will she have a relationship with her?
This beautiful baby girl is your late son's biological daughter.
I can't answer that. It's too much drama.
They can't seem to agree on anything. Judge Lauren had to school them.
I know both of you are grieving. I know both of you are just beyond yourselves. So I am trying to give you a moment to let it out. It is uncomfortable to me from where I sit, Miss Page, to watch you shouting. And I'm saying this because your anger and your frustration is coming from this place of grief. If this is your son's daughter, do you want to have a relationship? I don't know, because I don't know if I can take the drama. You all operating as if this has to exist.
It's time for the results.
When it comes to Samari Page, the probability of relatedness between Miss Page and Samari Page is 99.96%. Both of you all are in so much pain. It's not helping you, and it definitely does not honor Desmond. You admit to having an extremely complicated relationship. Now you say you're here today to prove that he is biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
She waited to notify you about her pregnancy.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Moore claimed that he used protection every time during their relationship.
She told me that she was pregnant, but she waited 4 months to do it. We stayed using condoms all the time, unless I was just out of it one night.
So you were in a relationship with Mr. Moore. You didn't tell him you were pregnant until 4 months.
I didn't tell him I was pregnant because I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't tell some of my family members either.
Mr. Moore brought evidence of her cheating to court.
I didn't show you the papers.
I got these papers with the guy who was presumably, he could be the dad.
You say this is Miss Matthews kissing another man.
Yeah, that actually came from her social network that she used to have, her Instagram.
She didn't deny it, but she had her reasons.
Why?
Because what picture did you post? And the reason I did bust the window out is because I was calling his phone about this picture. And they're answering the phone, hanging up, woo-woo. So yes, I was pregnant and I went to his house, the tire, and I broke your back window.
Okay.
That you might not be the child's father because she's kissing somebody else.
Absolutely.
Your Honor.
He presented another piece of evidence.
Mr. Moore, let me see this evidence you have.
The night she busted out my windows for me uploading a picture with another girl on my
Yes.
social network.
Is this the window you
Yes, I
busted
did.
out?
Busted out. I should have got the side too. But what about the rumors you paying for sex with women?
Okay.
He also brought a witness to court.
Your name is?
Miss Thomas.
Miss Thomas.
Miss Matthews, she gets around. The whole hood knows her. It's nothing new. Like, you don't know how many other dudes she done told this to before. Like, this is a rumor around the hood. Let's not play
What about
crazy.
the back
What you need to do.
ladies?
Go take care of your daughter. That's what you need to do.
Ladies,
She was asked to support her claim with proof.
do you have any proof? Not just
Yes.
known around the
Yes.
neighborhood.
Yes. The day after prom, I seen her with some dude that looks, and I seen her previous times in the neighborhood with this dude that looks exactly like my uncle. So I called my uncle up, and he gets to calling her, and she gets to dodging and everything and ignoring his phone call.
Then she dropped this bomb.
She calls 3 other dudes in the neighborhood that we live in daddy, Your Honor.
Zanaya calls 3 other men
3
daddy.
other men's daddy.
Is that true? Does
Your
Zanaya
Honor,
call
no.
anyone else daddy?
No, my daughter did not call anybody else daddy.
Does she call Mr.
She
Moore
don't call
daddy?
him daddy, no.
He claims he goes to check on her daughter. She's always abandoned.
He's got guys coming in and out.
My best friend lives directly
Please look at my
across the street
daughter.
from Mrs. We guys coming in and outside the house, and Zanaya just be sitting on the porch with her nose snotty and hungry. She has the same clothes on, like,
She tried to defend herself, but ended up getting schooled.
Just look at my daughter.
Of course, not right now, but
Of course, never.
thank you, Miss Thomas, for your testimony. You may be seated.
Zania's birth certificate wasn't signed because he wasn't certain he was the father.
You didn't sign the birth certificate because
I wasn't
you weren't
signing the
sure.
birth certificate.
He didn't even come up to the hospital, Your Honor.
I came up to the hospital. I didn't stay long. I'd already started hearing those rumors.
Check this exchange between the witness and Miss Matthews.
Your Honor, I'm 23 years old. I don't have anything. I got my whole life ahead of me. So, no matter what the outcome
Well,
is
you
today,
need to
you know
be
what
a
I'm saying?
man. And if I party and drink all day, then how do I get up and go to work every day? You can continue to just stop because I'm
not
need for
working.
you after this show to go find your daddy.
Judge Lauren Lake wasn't amused by that exchange.
If it weren't for
so.
Zanaya. Talk, this too much. She's 3. She's 3 years old. And so as you all go back and forth with all this silliness and back talk, you all have got to talk better to one another. And you're definitely not going to come in this courtroom just clowning for absolutely no reason.
Before the results, Judge Lauren gave her ruling.
I want to deal with this arbitration.
You know what, Your Honor? I do have receipts
May I please see
of
those,
the
Jerome?
invoice.
So this is a receipt from a car repair, $285.
Yep.
You are responsible, even as upset and as pregnant and as hormonal as you might have been. My ruling is for the defendant for $285. Are we clear?
It's time for the results.
Mr. Moore, you are not her father.
It's over with.
I mean, I'm not shocked.
I got my whole life ahead of me.
My baby gonna be fine. I'll take care of my baby.
I wish you the best.
This episode is about a daughter claiming her mother hates her husband. It's as messy as they come.
You claim that you've been supporting your daughter. You say that your daughter's husband is a deadbeat. Miss Scott McCray, you are suing your daughter for $3,900. You say your mother was an addict when you were younger and now tries to act holier than thou.
Yes.
Her mother thinks the husband is a deadbeat, and here's her reason.
Why are you calling your daughter's husband a deadbeat?
This man, Toy,
What
I was
was
out
it?
sleeping in their den. I watched Toy one night, particularly, and the whole night he was eating cereal. They couldn't eat the cereal because they didn't have milk.
What other reason?
Celeste was working 2 jobs.
If a job runs out of work, they lay you off.
But he could take care of the kids. Isn't that a family decision?
They're good. They do good at
But let
tax
you tell
time.
it.
She claimed her mother gave her a bounce check.
Miss Scott, tell me the story. You said your mom wrote you a bounce check.
Yes, for the first year, we did not ask her for no money. Every week she got her unemployment. Okay, you living with us. She didn't have to buy no food. She didn't have to buy no hygiene. Now she's acting like a little high school girl while she was living with us, sleeping with him. If Toy wouldn't have walked in the living room, the kids would have seen her full moon. You know what I'm saying?
That's a lie, Your Honor.
What about when we looked out the back window and you was out there in the car with her?
Rather than have sex in your house, I may have done it in the
Okay,
car.
if we needed to give him $1,200. I went to my mother and told her we got half. She told me yes for the full amount. This check I'm at the bank and it's not going through. It's not clearing.
I didn't have to pay your bills, Celeste.
Although her mother called him a deadbeat, she somehow found uses for him.
But when she comes to my home, the only name you hear out of her mouth is Toy. Oh my
That is
goodness.
so not true.
She's about to leave. I walk her out. Now she got in her car, crunk it up. So of course, you know, I look out the door. She done got out her car and kissed him a slobbery kiss.
It's time for Mr. Toy to give his account.
Step to the podium. What you have to add to this.
She always tapping on me. She always saying, you do more than I can't get my son. I believe she, she have a little crush and she have a little mental problem.
Judge Lauren asked him to defend the deadbeat accusation.
He accuses you, Mr. Young, of being a deadbeat.
I was getting unemployment every week when I was working. I was working at the Blake Hotel.
And the only person I have here is my mother and my father. So if we're short, we got 7 kids, Your Honor. 6 boys and 1 girl.
Ms. Scott wants her money back, and Judge Lauren gave her a ruling on that.
Miss Scott McCray, you are suing your daughter for $3,900. Okay.
Every time I gave her anything, I said, Celeste, I need this back.
You say $3,900. Now, I see bank withdrawals, Miss Scott McCray.
Yes, and it would come the cash that I would give to them to help pay their bills or pay the rent.
And I also can see here where you've made purchases. What you don't have is any independent evidence that shows that this was a loan without something in writing. Ruling is for the defendant.
I understand.
After the ruling, she schooled them.
Chosen to stay with her husband. You have your husband